So, how do we change the world? It's a pretty daunting question, particularly early on a Sunday morning, particularly if you were in the bar late last night. But daunting or not, we have to ask the question, because that's what we want to do. Now, it's hard to generalise about atheists, but you're out of bed and at an atheist convention on a Sunday morning. So I'm going to generalise enough to say that you care about the world you live in and about changing it for the better. And I know you really got out of bed this early to listen to Eugenie and not me, and not specifically to change the world. But hey, don't underestimate yourself. Many of you may not have heard of Atheist Alliance International, so let me introduce us. We're a global alliance. Our members are individuals and other atheist and free thought groups around the world. We've got members in around 40 countries, including Australia, of course. We do lots of different things because you don't change the world in one big step. You change it in a whole lot of little steps and through a heap of work. And there's no way that AAI could change the world enough on its own. So we help our members, the other atheist groups in particular, and we run projects that get people involved in supporting atheists outside their own country. Our work starts with helping atheist groups get established, wherever they are. We're lucky here in Australia. If we want to set up an atheist group, we have the freedom to do so. Not everyone is so fortunate. The Pakistani atheists and agnostics operate in a country where the punishment for blasphemy or apostasy can be death. They started by using the anonymity of Facebook. Then, in the middle of last year, the group wanted to take the next step to officially launch an online community for the non-religious in Pakistan. As part of this process, they asked AAI for help. We gave them advice on getting established, suggested messages to focus on at their launch, and put them in touch with other groups in heavily religious countries so they could get tips on how to operate safely. It was a successful launch. It even got media coverage in Pakistan. And since then, the group has grown substantially. It is a much-needed community and voice for rational thought in Pakistan. What AAI did is small, tiny, compared to what the Pakistani atheists and agnostics did themselves. But our inbox is a stream of requests for advice and contacts on a whole range of situations. In addition to talking to people in countries you might think of, like the US and the UK, we get questions everywhere from the Caribbean to Russia, Brazil, Indonesia, Israel, Lebanon, Nigeria. I am glad we are there to answer questions and provide support, particularly for people in countries where it's dangerous to even be an atheist. The problems faced by atheists around the world are many and varied, but unfortunately, it seems there is plenty of work to do in just about every country. Many of you would remember this logo from the 2010 convention here. That convention and this one are to the credit of the Atheist Foundation of Australia. It is an excellent and effective atheist group. Personally, I'm very proud to be a member. I'm also proud that a critical step for the 2010 convention was taken by AAI and that the success of the rise of atheism has been reflected around the world. About 3 years ago, then President Stuart Beckman decided to take AAI's convention program global. Before that, conventions had been run in the US. Stuart approached David Nichols to propose a convention in Australia. As this was a new direction for the AFA, I understand the idea prompted a lot of discussion. A couple of years later, the tremendous success of the 2010 convention and this weekend shows that these events are an effective way of raising the profile of atheism and getting our messages across. And as well as the fun, the connections that people make are critical. The thinking and enthusiasm that comes out of an event like this pushes the next wave of people to stand up for atheism and secularism. This positive impact is fantastic in Australia, of course. And all around the world, other groups are looking at this success and they want to emulate it. The rise of atheism was just the start. Since then, AAI has supported conventions in Denmark, Ireland, Canada, Gambia, and Kenya. Next week, I'll be at the first such convention in Southeast Asia, hosted by the Philippine Atheists and Agnostic Society. Then next month, Next month, there's a European convention in Germany, and also in May, there's a North American convention in Canada. It's an amazing spread of events around the world, so we are working to help it continue. In addition to working with our members directly, we run projects that typically support atheists in developing countries. At the end of 2010, we helped establish the Kizizi Humanist Primary School in Uganda. We arranged volunteer teaching assistants and ran a fundraising campaign that paid for some of the building renovations. I think we all recognise how important a good education is. The reality is that the Kizizi School operates in a heavily religious country and it competes with religious schools for students. So we are helping to make sure it provides a good service. The school is growing, which is fantastic. It started with around 200 students and now has over 300. In the last year, we've supported a project to add classrooms, and thanks to a substantial donation, the school is connected to the electricity network. If you want to do one small thing to help change the world for the better, think about a sponsorship covering the cost of a year's school fees for a child at the Kizizi School, or a contribution to the teacher salaries, for less than you'll probably pay for a good night out in Melbourne. More formally, we think there's scope for a specifically atheist voice at the international level. This year we applied for consultative status with the United Nations and the Council of Europe. If status is granted, we'll have the ability to contribute to forums such as the UN Commission for Social Development and the Commission on the Status of Women. I think we might have a few things to say. So now the pitch. Atheist Alliance International is run by a volunteer board of directors. There's 12 of us from 7 countries across 5 continents. 3 of the directors are Australian, and we're all here at this convention. I haven't even met all the other directors in person, and there's a good chance we'll never meet, because AAI is genuinely global. We don't have a physical location, we basically run through email and Skype. It's really simple. What we can do depends on the support we receive. There have been projects that asked for more funding than we could give. It can be hard to source funding for atheist projects in developing countries. Most potential donors are focused on their own countries. And, funnily enough, the atheist, or even the apparently softer humanist label, tends to put people off in developing countries. So atheist groups in Africa, South America, or Asia often need to look to the international community for support. And ultimately, if the funding isn't there, these projects probably won't happen. I'm proud of what we've done, but there is a lot more to do. So I'm asking for your support. Please join us as a member, make a donation, or just come and buy some red A pins from our table. It all helps. And to plug what's in it for you, in addition to the warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you help to change the world for the better, members get Secular World magazine, an excellent read about lots of things going on around the world in atheism and secularism. It isn't easy to change the world. If it was, someone would have done it already and we all could have slept in this morning. And you can't wave a magic wand to change the world. So we're left with a lot of work and a lot of different projects that are needed. These issues can feel like a long way away, but really, it's a pretty small planet we all share. Atheist Alliance International, like all the speakers at this convention, is working to make the world better. I hope you'll help us. Thank you.